Hey, good afternoon, everyone. This is TonniLea with TonniLea TV, and it's such a pleasure to have you today. Today, my special guest is a woman that I've met on LinkedIn, and we just started chatting back and forth a little bit. And I asked her if she would do an interview, and she obliged. So, would you please welcome Tonya Robertson? Thank you, Tonya, for joining.
It's
I
my
know
pleasure.
you're a little nervous, but that's all good. We're just going to have a conversation, okay?
Okay.
We're going to find out about you. So, would you like to introduce yourself to the world?
Sure. My name is Tonya Robertson, as you said. I am currently I live in Virginia with my son, who is 13 years old. Yes, I have a fresh teenager. And it has been a journey in his life with his life in mind. It's just been there's always something ups, downs, we've had a roller coaster of things, but he is probably one of the closest people to me. Always there, and he's very mature for his age. Um, and I work at Walmart. Have been there for 12 years. I served in the military for a few years. Done a little bit of everything. What is that? My mom used to say, "A jack of all trades."
Wow, that's good.
Yeah, done a lot. So, and right now, I'm just pretty much on a journey to discover more about me.
What has that journey been like?
Um, it's been kind of like a roller coaster. You got your ups, you got your downs, but at the
Sure.
end, you level out.
Right?
Yeah. So I've had, you know, had some ups, um, plenty of downs, and sometimes the downs seem like they outweigh the ups, but I'm sure they don't. But you
Sure.
know, sometimes they seem like they take over.
At the time that you're going through them, they sure do seem like they outweigh all of the good, don't they?
They do.
They do, yeah. And, hopefully you get further down the road and you can look back at them and now you can see where the bad led you to the greatest and the good, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah. So, you said something that really intrigued me, the service. So, do you mind talking about that? I love our service people.
Uh,
I do.
I was a medical technician. So I worked in a hospital. Um I was in the service for about 9.5 years. Many people ask me why I got out um without, retiring. Um but I was 3,000 miles away from all of my family. And it was difficult. I'm a family person, so being away from my mom, my grandmother, just it was hard as is. And when they started getting sicker, it made it harder for me. So they
Hmm.
couldn't they couldn't transfer me and station me closer to home. So I chose
Hmm.
it.
So, when you were 3,000 miles away, can you tell us where you were?
I was in California.
Mm,
Beautiful, beautiful place.
it is.
Yeah.
I'll agree. So, your family was over on the East Coast then, and you were on the West Coast.
Yep.
Yeah. So, were
Exactly.
you down around Oceanside?
No, closer to
Or
Sacramento.
oh, Sacramento. Yeah. Oh, and it's very beautiful up there. It's a little more mountainous and stuff. So,
Hmm.
yeah, a little
Yeah.
cooler temperatures too.
Right now,
Nice.
there's not. Right now, they get ready.
No, it isn't. It is extremely hot. The more north you go, the worse it is, it seems.
Yeah.
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 Just strange weather, right?
Yeah.
It definitely is. Yeah. So were you very close to your mom and to your grandma? Or you are? Or
Well, both have passed on.
I'm sorry.
But my grandmother, um, we were close. I grew up with her around me. But my mom was like my best friend. And anybody
Mm.
that ever saw us together would always say, "Is that your sister?" And I'm like, "No." But we were we were
Aw.
so close. And we lost her. Um, expectantly yet unexpectedly. Like we knew that she would be passing probably within a year, but not as quick as we weren't expecting, as quick as it was. So, but she didn't suffer. But yeah, that was my best friend, and I swear I think she was my son's best friend.
Oh, so it was hard on both of you.
um, yes and no. Um, I, as I told you, I think I kind of, I don't know if I don't know how I really handled it because maybe I didn't handle it, and I just kind of shut down. So when it happened, instead of me breaking down and crying, I was like, who do I need to call? It was like I went into another whole mode of thinking so that I wouldn't focus on what had actually happened.
But that's what our body does when it gets into trauma sometimes is it goes into this flight mode, survive and flight mode.
Right.
Which is perfectly fine because of the fact, like you said, you had things that you had to take care of and that you had to do, and you had other people that you had to, make sure that they were okay and all of that kind of stuff. But then there does come a point is like, okay, so when are we going to crash, right? So did
Right.
you ever crash, or is it something you're still just kind of like flying through?
No, I crashed.
Did you?
The fact the So I've had moments here and there, but never like a huge breaking point. Um, and I think because I stay busy, like I always working and doing this. I'll be at home and I was working, but when so I lost my mom. Then 3 months later, I lost a brother. Then 3 months after that, I lost another brother,
Yeah.
and then the following year, a matter of fact, almost a year to the date, I lost my dad. So within a year's time, I had lost, and I should say but my family had lost
Sure.
4 people.
Right.
Uh, and I still didn't break. Still didn't break. But when my boyfriend and I had broke up, uh, I think thinking that I had lost another person sent me down the rabbit hole. And
Absolutely.
that's when I really was like, all the losses at once just kind of slapped me in the face. So that was my breaking point. And but I was blessed because God allowed me to realize um that's what it was after the fact. But
Sure.
yeah, so
Yeah. Because he takes us through that and he always shows us the good, right?
right.
If
Right.
we're willing to see it. Sure. Doesn't mean that it makes it any easier, but at least we can see a bit of a horizon on the other side.
Right.
Yeah. So do you think that you've dealt with a lot of that stuff then through going through all of these deaths and
I don't think that I've dealt with it per se, but I think that I am working on it.
yeah,
I think that that's something that when that happened, it made me realize that I needed more help than I thought I needed.
right,
Um, my family was always one that the women were strong women. Like they seemed to always have it together no matter what happened. And I thought I had to be just like that, you know.
right,
But I never thought about that even if they had breakdowns, maybe it was breakdowns that I never even knew they had. They just hid it very well.
right.
So
Well, and that's the thing, Tonya, is when we see things like that, especially within our family, and that's what we're raised with, that's what we know. How do we know that we're supposed to do things any differently?
we
We
don't.
just we don't, right? And sometimes it's the culture because I know a lot of African Americans from the southern part of the US, and that's what they're taught.
Right.
Tough, right? The women just get in there, and I think that that comes from generations and generations ago. I'm just saying, look at the slaves. I mean, look what they had to endure, right?
Right.
And so it just went from generation to generation as you just buck up and you just do it. You don't complain. And now we find that that's not really the healthiest way to be. But when that's all we know, that's all we can do, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah, because there's so many times that we don't know we're supposed to act any different or do things differently or whatever because we were raised a certain way and this is the way you do it. And then we get out there and we meet someone different or we're like, oh, so that's how these people process this or whatever, right?
Right.
So then at that time, we can take that knowledge and go from there. But before that, we can't blame ourselves. We can't punish ourselves. We can't be guilty. We just didn't know any different. So, I hope that, that makes you understand that the way that you did things is like, okay, because that's what you knew, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah. So, and if you learn a different process, then you're going to know, oh, so this is how maybe we're supposed to do things. But yeah,
Right.
but you're tough and then you've got your son to take care of and you got to provide and so you're just out there doing what that you've got to do. But
Right. Yeah.
and to be admired for all that. Yeah.
Well, I
But
don't
when
know.
it comes to the brick wall that you hit, then that's like you say, then oh, I might need something else here. So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah. That's kind of what I hit. So yeah. Yeah.
those brick walls hurt. Especially
Yeah.
when you run right in, not that you're walking, you're running and you run right into them. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they flatten that old nose, don't they?
Yeah, and put you right on your bottom.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it
But
stinks, doesn't it?
it does. It does. But like I said, I'm happy for the eye opener.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, and what I admire about you is what you said. You just kept going. You didn't give up. And so many people they give up or they become the victim or they stay stuck or whatever. And
Yeah.
I admire the people that are the warriors that just keep moving and going forward and one step at a time, right?
Right. Right. That's exactly how I've been doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's to be admired because you're the smaller portion of people because you're going, sadly.
Yeah.
So, what does the future look like for Tonya?
I don't know. I don't know. Finding Tonya. So it's so much that I've wanted to do for years, and so maybe I'll start doing something that Tonya wants to do.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I learned through my recovery was the fact I I've always been a giver, always been a servant, always felt I had to take care of other people, and that goes all the way back to my childhood. And mom saying, "Tawny, do this. Tawny, go do." So you just become that, right?
Right.
But I learned through the recovery is I do have to come first in a very healthy way, not a selfish way. Because if I don't pour into me or I don't allow God to pour into me, and if I don't take care of me, there is nothing to give out to anyone else, right? I
Right.
mean, we'll just run ourselves dry and then what good are we, right?
Exactly.
So, yeah, I think that you're noticing that and yeah, you're seeing that. What are some of the dreams that you've had?
Um. So I've always wanted to write a book, which is
Hallelujah.
but we'll see how that works out. I've had many ideas in my head, and I have wrote down like I have a notebook that I found. Matter of fact, going through my mom's stuff, which is weird. I don't know why she had it, but it was a notebook that I just had just random ideas, just all through the whole book, poems, just different, yeah, all kinds of stuff.
Tonya, do you know you are a writer?
Mm,
You are, because this is what we do. Yes, ma'am.
okay.
You, it is. It's just, it's the writer character. because somewhere you started writing things down. You started writing poems, whatever. And I was so blessed because that's what my grandma taught me to do.
Oh, really?
And I
Okay.
kept him. Oh, definitely. If you talk to writers, they will tell you, oh, yeah, when I was young, I used to journal, or someone said, well, do this or do that, or I used to write poems. I used to write. That is a writer's character.
Yeah.
So you are a writer. So that calling that God has put in your heart has its reason and its purpose.
Okay. No. And
Yes,
then,
ma'am.
yeah,
And
that's
there are so many of us. I'll support you. Heck yeah.
okay.
Yes. Because it's one of those gifts that God's given us, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah, he has a will and a purpose, or he wouldn't have given it to you.
And
It is
that's
a gift. It is a blessing. Yes, ma'am.
yeah. And that's what I have been searching for, like my purpose, like in life. Because I hear so many people talk about they work in jobs that they wake up and want to go to. And I'm like, really? Like some days I struggle. Like, I really don't want to go on some days. And I'm like, I want one of them jobs they talking about. And so I was like, well, what am I good at? Like, I'm always looking at things and what am I good at? And I don't think I'm good at much of anything. I really, I do what they say, we're the worst critics of ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's me. I don't think I'm good at anything. But I do have a brother, um, my only other surviving sibling, and he's very like, oh, you're good at this, you're good at that. And I'm just like, really? Like, but he's very like he's always put me there telling me, and I'm blessed to have that still in my life.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I would love for you to go through my recovery. Just saying. Because there's so much about you yet to be discovered, right?
It
And
is.
sometimes going through those stinking journeys in life, it gets all covered up. It gets smushed down in there. And yeah. But you, more than anything, are a daughter of the Most High King. You are.
Yeah.
You are robed in righteousness. You have a crown that are so full of jewels.
Mm.
Yeah. And he thinks you are the most favorite Tonya ever. And if
Okay.
you'd been the only person in the whole universe ever, he still would have went to the cross for you.
Oh wow.
Yeah. He thinks you're pretty amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I never look
There's so many things about Tonya that, yeah, are to yet be discovered. In my recovery stuff too, I have this I am homework. And so on a piece of paper, you write, I am. And then who are you? Well, you can't say that you're a mom, can't say you're a wife, can't say you're a girlfriend, can't say that you work at Walmart, you can't say you're a daughter, except for the Most High King, right?
right.
Because we have to know who we are in Christ first and foremost. Because he made us in our mother, he created, what's the word they use? Knitted us together long time before we were ever even on our mother's womb, right?
Right.
He knew who we were going to be. So, yeah.
So we just gotta discover who we are.
Yeah. And through life's journey, we find out
Right.
you're a warrior lady.
I've heard that before.
Yes, ma'am. You're a Deborah or an Esther. Yes.
Wow.
Because you just
Yeah.
keep fighting on. Deborah,
Yeah.
that's kind of what I see. The Deborah anointing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
give up, but again, that's a family. That's a
Right.
we
Yep.
we have to keep fighting and keep going.
hmm
Yeah.
And that was in my family because my mom's mother was an only daughter. And so, she was the one that had to do and fighting. And then she got breast cancer. And so she fought. She finally gave up. But, and then there was my mom who, I mean, she just fought constantly because she had to do that as well. And so I knew nothing different, which is good as long as it's a good constructive thing, right?
Right.
I gave it to my daughter. I gave it to my oldest granddaughter. And it's a good quality because it sure makes us amazing leaders. And I know that that's exactly what you are. When you go to work, I bet you people can just say, oh, go have Tonya do it, because they know they can depend upon you, that the job will get done.
Right.
Because that's a part of who you are. That's one of those gifts in the leadership. Yeah. Like Deborah, because what did she do, right? She
Right.
couldn't find the men to fight the battle, so she just went out there and got her people and did it herself, right? Because it needed to be done, right?
Right.
So yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Pretty amazing. So tell me a little bit about your does it give you some stress sometimes?
He does. He has his attention span is really short. Really, really short.
Oh,
So he frustrates me sometimes. But again, I look at him and I tell him all the time. He tells me, "Mommy, I'm gonna be a NBA player. He gonna be like Steph Curry."
oh wow.
But he's not very good at basketball. He can shoot. Don't get me wrong, but he's what is it? A lover, not a fighter. So he doesn't get in there and play defense like he should.
Oh,
But anyway, I
so
tell
he go
we
ahead.
I tell him he can be anything he want to be.
That's right.
But I always tell him to make sure you have something to fall back on. But he's an entertainer. Like if we say we having Thanksgiving dinner at the house, oh mom, we got to do this and we got to do that. We need to invite so and so.
Oh,
We need to, he's that. If we're gonna have an event, he wants to have games and all this. So that, yeah, and he has his own YouTube channel. So he loves videos. He loves doing videos, creating videos, and all this stuff. So he's a creative little, and I push him whatever he wants to do. I want him to try it. I don't want him to ever say I never tried it or I don't know because I didn't try it. If you want to try it, try it.
right.
So,
And that's all you can do is try. And like with the basketball, maybe it's just like you said, he's just playing the wrong, the wrong part of the game. If he's not a defender, then maybe there's another part of it that he needs to play that he would be better at too. So, but yeah, he will find his niche, right? Don't we?
he
We
would.
find,
I
yeah,
think he's already found it. He just don't realize it. So
that's pretty awesome at the age of 13.
he
Yeah.
like I said, he likes. I think he's gonna be like a producer or something, of videos or movies or something, because he loves, like I said, the video aspect. He loves
Hmm.
video works.
He's very intelligent then, because let me tell you what, those people that can understand that type of stuff,
Yeah.
yeah, they've got a completely different wired brain, I think,
Yeah.
because that stuff is just like foreign to me. So, right.
A lot
But
of it.
writing, yeah. So, thank goodness God didn't make us all the same, right?
Right. But he's my
Right.
little comedian.
Oh,
Always, if
yeah.
I look down, if I look like I'm sad, he gonna try to do something funny to lift me up. So yeah, if I'm tired, well, mom, I'll do this, I'll do that, and he's a he's a unique kid to be 13.
Yeah. Wow. What a blessing.
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as he remembers that he is a kid,
Oh, he
as
trusts me.
long as he can be, right? That's what I always tell my grandkids. Just remember, because when you hit 21, boom.
I know.
Yeah. It's adult age forever.
I remember when I was in the military, I was in during September 11th. And I remember thinking that day, like, what I wouldn't give to be back at home in high school or whatever, not worrying about nothing but my schoolwork.
Right.
Yeah, that was my thought. Like, seriously. Like,
Wow, my goodness, girl, you've been through a lot of trauma stuff. You have.
Yeah, you don't know the half of it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, a lot of stuff I've probably never even talked about. Yeah, that's why I said most stuff we were trained to kind of just, I guess, push it down and just keep on going. But one day I was reading something and it says one day it's going to eventually explode if you keep pushing it down, and when it comes out, it's not going to be pretty.
No, it's not.
So, um, yeah.
And that is very, very true. It really, really is. Yeah.
And that was so military was another reason that I never really talked to anybody because
Sure.
in the military you can't go but so far if you want to be
Right.
promoted.
Yep.
If you had that on your back on your medical history.
Yep. Isn't that sad?
It is.
And I know because, especially, for these ones that have done this last war and that type of stuff like that. Oh my gosh, what have we done to them?
Right.
My son-in-law was over there 3 times in Iraq, and yeah, and then he comes home and he's told, deal with it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
we
yeah,
go
he
crazy.
got out too, 8.5 years, and he said enough is enough.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So we weren't in the bad parts like a lot of people. We were in the bad parts, but we weren't out there like some of the like the
Right.
Marines and stuff were, but it was enough.
Exactly.
It was enough.
Yeah. Yep.
But
Well, we're almost out of time, so I'm going to leave the last few minutes for you, and I just want you to speak to the people that are watching the show because someone is going to watch this that needs to hear what you have to say. So would you mind speaking to them?
sure. I'm not sure we're really
It's
what
yours. Well, Tonya, I think that the Lord's going to lead you, so it's yours.
yeah. So but what I can say is that no matter what we go through in life, we can always know that God is with us. And sometimes he puts people in our paths to help us when we think we don't need the help. And just accept it. Accept it. And as far as because I am an African American female and we were raised thinking that getting help mentally was something that we just didn't do. It wasn't our race. It was considered weak. That's what I've always been told. It's considered to make you weak, but it really doesn't make you weak. It actually makes you more of a strong person to be able to say that you can handle it, you know. And that'll be better than not saying it and trying to keep on and keep on. And eventually, your breaking point may not be like my breaking point. Your breaking point, you might end up hurting somebody or hurting yourself. And that's something you really don't want to do. So if you feel like you need help, or if you even if you don't, so I can say I didn't feel like I needed help. I thought I had it all handled. So I didn't seek help. People ask me how you was doing. I'm good, but my emotions were all over the place, but I'm fine. um, but when I finally hit my breaking point is when I was like, wow, you know, maybe I did need somebody to talk to all the time. Maybe, you know, I won't really handle it like I thought it was. So if you feel that way, then reach out. If you go through anything and it's the help is offered to you, take it. Who knows? It might be something that you really need. And if it's not, then hey, you can't say you didn't try.
Thank you, Tonya.
Well,
That's
thank
amazing. Yes. Well, you speak volumes there. So I so appreciate you and thank you. I know that this was like a first new step for you, and I
it
am
was.
so, so privileged and honored to have you. You're a bold woman, and so I appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
Okay, you're welcome. I'm glad I was able to do it.
Yes. Yeah, this is only the beginning.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
excited. Can't wait.
exactly. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being on my show.
Well, thank you for having me.
Hey, this is TonniLea with TonniLea TV, and I want you to know that Tonya's email. And I know that if you needed anything or you had any questions, I know that she would respond to you. She's really good about that. And she has a heart there because why? She's been there. And, you know, if something is so bad at the moment, please dial 911 first. But if it's something that, you know, you just need to talk to somebody about, then I know that you could email her. You can get in touch with me. There's thousands of people out here that will listen to you because sometimes that's all we need is someone to listen to us. And so this is TonniLea TV. And I hope you have a blessed afternoon in Jesus' name.
Amen.